but that means, 300 times 4, they can't do them all.
Right.
And so it does slow them down. It does complicate their efforts. I will say that as it relates specifically to their efforts to cut Medicaid and provide a big tax cut for billionaire corporations, like they're going to make time for that, right? That is their abiding priority. And we have to fight like hell against that. But we have to, have no illusions about this is basically their reason for being, is to cut Medicaid, potentially cut the Affordable Care Act, and use those revenues in addition to the tariff revenue that everybody's paying out of pocket right now to provide a big tax cut for corporations. We're not, there's no magic wand to stop these guys. But I think one of the things that Corey reminded us of is that we can all do something. And whatever it is that we're all in a position to do, that's the thing you're supposed to be doing. And the other thing, I talked at length before Corey took the floor, and, it was not part of some grand strategy that's been mapped out for the next 6 months. And I think that's one of the problems with Democrats is we want everything to be tight and organized and a grand strategic plan. And we're in a fight right now. And so we have to pick up whatever, this is rhetorical now, this is not physical. We have to pick up whatever rock we can find and start whipping it at the opposition and try to sort this sort of strategic and tactical questions as we go along. But in the meantime, one premise should be our abiding approach to the Senate, which is nothing for free and nothing easy.
Perfectly put. I have been thinking a lot about the fact that you're doing this. Corey stood up on the floor for 25 hours and used his power that way. And so has there been a broader recognition from Senate Democrats that everybody needs to be doing not the bare minimum, but actually the maximum? That when you guys put forward these strategies to try and either draw attention or eyeballs to what you're doing, to slow down the processes of the Republican conference, it can't be the minimum. That it has to be that what you all are doing has to be the maximum. That what you're doing has to be the bar that your colleagues are then going to say, okay, how can I break through in this media environment? How can I most effectively fight back? How can I use my platform in the biggest way possible? Has that been a discussion among you and the rest of the Democratic caucus?
Yes, it's been a discussion, but I'd also say it's a little bit of soul searching because part of the problem here is we're 47 different people with different constituencies and different strengths and weaknesses. And so not everybody can do 25 hours on the floor. Not everybody has the kind of procedural background that I have in terms of blocking nominees. But, we have a lot of shadow hearings, which have been very compelling. Some people are going into House districts of Republican members who refuse to have a town hall. So I think one of the things we want to do is to say everybody should be doing something, but we don't want to be too prescriptive about what it is. Just like every citizen may be in a position to do something. Some people may want to march physically. Some people may want to post. Some people may want to influence their families or do some other kind of organizing. And I think one of the things that needs to be fixed in the Democratic coalition is we're a little fussy with each other about which tactic is supposed to work and who's doing the best in their form of resistance. We should just sort of say, anybody who's helping in any way, think of it like a potluck. Someone comes in and they got a macaroni salad. Thank you very much. Someone's got Kalbi ribs. Thank you very much. Someone brought napkins. Thank you very much. Right? Everybody contributes something. And if everybody's kind of got a forward momentum and a belief in each other, then we're going to build this pluralistic, multicultural, people-powered movement to stop this all. And one of the things that Corey said that I thought was really right is that, and Barack Obama said that I thought was very compelling, is the most important office right now is the office of citizen. The challenge is that when you're an elected official in power and you're sort of turning it back on citizens, it can ring a little hollow. It can sound like you're doing excuse making. And so we also have to lead by example and demonstrate we understand this has to be uncomfortable. This has to be politically uncomfortable. This has to be, in some instances, physically uncomfortable, but no business as usual.
Now, do you find that maybe you have a little bit more political capital to expend given the ways in which Donald Trump has taken a hatchet to the U.S. economy, and does that extend even over to your Republican colleagues?
Look, I don't know how much political capital I do or don't have to expend, but I would just say that one of the things that we've seen is that the frustration with Republicans for allowing this to happen and with Democrats for looking flat-footed in the first couple of months is sort of the
Yeah.
same group of people. And they're not like, I'm left-wing, but they're not all left-wing people. There's a lot of moderates that think that Republicans have gone off a cliff and Democrats are being too quiet. And so we don't want to characterize the desire for a ferocity of resistance as some uniquely progressive priority. It's also regular people watching their retirement savings get incinerated. People are pissed, and they want us to reflect that level of alarm.
Can I have your reaction more broadly to the fact that even in light of the fact that, you know, we're going on several days now of the stock market plummeting, we're seeing foreign countries who I think Donald Trump thought would just capitulate, probably because he's gotten so used to being surrounded by groveling, obsequious yes men, that he thought everybody in the world was as weak as the people who he surrounds himself with. And yet we're watching the EU enact retaliatory tariffs. We're watching the Asian bloc negotiate along with China at a time when we're supposed to be protecting American supremacy in the world. Instead, we're driving other countries into the arms of the exact country that we're competing with. And so can I just get your reaction to the fact that in light of all of this, we're seeing Trump not restructure his strategy moving forward, but instead double, triple, quadruple down on this idea that tariffs are perfect, everything that he's doing is A plus, and don't change anything.
I mean, they're in a bubble, right? I mean, and I mean the White House in particular. There were pretty valid criticisms of Democrats over the last, say, 6 years about being in a bubble, but I've never seen a bubble quite like this. And it goes to like White House staff, the whole Doge team, this group of young ideologues doing damage to various agencies. Like they literally don't understand how anything works. They don't understand the importance of cancer research. They don't understand the importance of preventing a baby from getting HIV/AIDS from her mom. And they are in a bubble being reinforced. Eventually, those political bubbles burst. And I think our project collectively is to do two things. First, to try to make sure that we puncture that bubble as quickly as possible to minimize the damage to regular people and to the country and to the institutions that hold up this country. But the other part of this is to make sure that voters know exactly how bad these outcomes are. And I was thinking about Friday night, as I think we finished at like 3 a.m. I got asleep by like 4:30 a.m. And, the truth is nobody was really paying attention to all of our votes on the House floor, or the Senate floor, because their retirement savings, their college savings, their life savings were being incinerated. There's not much for us to say. There's no like phrasing that's going to make this worse or better for our party. What's happening is, we have kind of moved from the phase of the Trump presidency where people were pissed and worried, but they were mostly observing stuff on their screens about what was happening. And this week and last week were the first week where people were like, okay, this is no longer like the way you kind of watch fantasy football and have a rooting interest in your side. This is more like, now you're talking about my money. This is my shit. This is my kid's college. This is my personal retirement. This is my mom's retirement. This is my mom's job. Things are getting very, very real, and there's nothing you can do when you are living in an information bubble to prevent people from actually feeling the impact. So I think the politics are going to turn. The question is whether they turn quickly enough for us to minimize the damage.
What do you make of the fact that you've got all these Republicans who were so quick to back Donald Trump during the campaign or over the last few years? People like Meghan McCain, for example, who came out and tweeted, "Inject every policy into my veins," who are now coming out, and Meghan McCain is one of them, Dave Portnoy is another one, now coming out and basically, recognizing that they themselves are being impacted, and so suddenly have an impetus to speak out.
My view is welcome. I mean that. I mean that with zero sarcasm, with zero resentment. People, a good buddy of mine used to say, people vote for you for their reasons, not yours.
Yeah.
The purpose of politics is not to winnow down your political coalition to a purer and purer group, but rather Politics is addition, not subtraction. Dave Portnoy is a big deal. I still follow him exclusively for the pizza reviews and the Boston Celtics takes.
I'm in the same boat. I watch the pizza reviews and so I get it. I understand if I'm watching him, even with all the biases I have on the political side, imagine what people who don't give